with Sweet Aria Decor. Thank you so much for purchasing this Happy Easter wreath kit. Your kit comes with everything that you see here. You've got your Happy Easter sign, you have your pink deco poly mesh, and then you've got 2 sets of ribbons. A set of ribbon tails over here in a plaid and a chick. And then these 3 right here are for your bow. They include the plaid, the chick, and also a pink. You're going to get 17 pipe cleaners, 2 cable tie mounts, and of course, your wreath frame. We can't forget the wreath frame. So the ones for the bow, I'm going to move these all the way over to the side because we're not going to use those to the end. I don't want to accidentally cut those. All right. The first thing I would like to do is make my wreath frame. So if you undo your pipe cleaners, so this is going to make a nice thin wreath. If you've got a storm door, it's going to have a profile that's less than 4 inches, which is perfect. You can also do a little bit of a larger cruffle method if you don't want to lay it out flat. You can do the curl and ruffle method, make it a little bit thicker as well. So I'm going to start off by putting pipe cleaners on my wreath frame to hold everything in place. So there are 6 spines going across the wreath, and then there are 4 rings. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to work with rings 1 and 2 are inside, rings 3 and 4 are outside. So I'm going to start with the spine. I'm going to put a pipe cleaner underneath ring 2 to the left side of the spine. And I'm going to bring it over ring 1. Now I'm bringing it underneath ring 2, but I'm on the right side of the spine. If you look at it, it kind of looks like a lightning bolt. Okay. Pull it around. All right. And then bring them together and give them a nice good old twist. There we go. We're going to do that again. Under ring 2 on the left. Over ring 1 and under ring 2 on the right of the spine. Loop it back to the top, and then give it a nice twist. They don't have to be even, and we're going to cut some of these off when we are done. All right, but for right now, leave everything nice and long. There we go. Now, if you make a lot of these wreaths with these wreath frames, sometimes if you're bored and you're just sitting there, I don't know what I'm going to do. You don't want to do anything that's too committal. You can just sit there and make a bunch of frames with pipe cleaners. Nice and easy. There we go. They do have frames you can get elsewhere, but they're not laid out like this. They don't have the 6 spines. That's why I prefer these. I get these from Dollar Tree. I don't get a lot of craft supplies there, but this is one thing that I do. I do enjoy getting there. Okay, so now we've got our 6 that are on the inside ring, and we want to move now to the outside ring. Okay, so we are going to go not on the spines, my friends. We're going to go between the spines, right? Because if you lay a ruffle there and a ruffle there, then you're going to have a weird looking wreath. It's not going to look round. It's going to look scalloped almost. We don't want that. So we're going to go on the top of ring 3, bring it around under 4, back over 3, bring it around under 4 again. So basically now you've kind of got your lightning bolt shape. It's just not around a spine. All right. And then you're just going to give it a twist. Now, I like to give a nice tug so you can bend it just slightly. Okay. And it's okay to bend it because then it's not going to slide back and forth. Okay. It's just a slight bend. Okay. So the top of ring 3. Bring it under 4, over 3, back under 4. A nice tight tug and a twist. This is pretty easy. This is not that bad to do. These are really nice wreaths to make too for like craft shows because they're not super expensive, and you can make one in about an hour or less, depending on how often you make wreaths and how fast you work. And then you can pack more into what you're taking because they're not the big thick ones, but some people do like the big thick ones, so that's okay too. I'm big and thick, and I like that too. All right, here we go. As I'm making this, if you're watching it on a replay, it's currently the middle of January. I know it seems like a little early for Easter, but we crafters have to be months ahead of the schedule. Go. Hello, Teresa. Hello, Linda. I call her Local Linda. Local Linda, because she lives right by my house. We're not too far from each other. We're the crafting Lindas from Plainfield. All right, I'm going to move these cable tie mounts over to the side as well. Okay, so here we go. There is our wreath frame. We have 6 on the inside, 6 on the outside. And I like to kind of just push the inside ones to the inside because once we do start our frame, we're going to start with the outside. But for now, I'm going to move it because now it's time to make a mesh. We're going to, sorry, bad joke. We're going to cut our mesh. Okay. Now this is a metallic border stripe. It's got the, you see the shiny border on the outside. This is just your typical poly deco mesh. Now we're not cutting the whole roll. I cut my pieces at 18 inches long, so I need 12 pieces cut at 18 inches long. You can choose to just lay it out right here to start with. I like to start with a nice straight cut. So when I hold it out, I'm just gonna start right here. There we go. All right, and then, so the two methods you can have are, if you're cutting with scissors, you just go right up 18 inches. It might take a little longer, but it still works, right? Okay, so we have one piece cut. Or you can use a rotary cutter. Here's piece 2. You may find that it kind of rolls around on you, so I like to put my mesh into a mesh holder. This is Susie's Triple Stationary Mesh Roller. And it holds the mesh on there for me, and then it doesn't roll all over the place. And a happy, non-stressed crafter is a good crafter. That's how I want to be. So 1, 2, piece 3, 4, all cutting at 18 inches. 5, 6, 7, 8. As I start to drop them off the side of the table. Here. 9, 10, 11, and 12. This will leave you with 6 or 7 pieces of mesh left on this roll right here. So if for some reason, if you get 2 wreath kits, you can take the extra that's on both of these thin wreath kits and you have the mesh for a whole other wreath, right? Perfect, perfect. I like to lay my mesh out flat, so I'm gonna take all of these, kind of just stack them up because I find that that's easier. So I kind of hold them over the edge of the table and just grab it and roll it down. Grab it on the bottom and roll it down. I'm using my stomach to kind of hold the mesh against the table, so my cushy tummy is now good for something. All right. You don't have to do this. I just like to do this because it helps kind of flatten it out, but it also makes sure that it doesn't go rolling off the end of the table. All right. This is fun. Oh, it's so nice to see. I love pink and the Easter colors, and it's really cold and kind of miserable here today, so this is kind of a nice project to do. It's getting me in the mood for spring. Okay, so there we go. I'll put our sign on there to kind of hold that. Now we have, these are our ribbon tails, the larger set. Okay, so remember, you have a shorter set down here. This is 12 inches. These 3, you do not want to cut this right now. Put that to the side. Don't cut those. We want to cut the ones that are measuring 14 inches long. Okay, this is what we want to cut. So they've been already pre-wrapped, so don't unroll it. Just kind of open it up. All right, so you can kind of see the loops. All we have to do is cut this end and this end. All right, and then we'll have 12 pieces. There's 6 on either side. So we're going to start by cutting here. And then we're going to cut here. Down here. Here we go. All right. So now once I kind of separate my little groups here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. I am going to stack those nicely. Hold those like that. Bend the ends together. And then we're going to cut inward toward the outside, toward the wires. And there you have a nice dovetail. It keeps it from fraying and gives it a nice finish. All right, we're going to keep doing this on the other side. If your scissors aren't particularly sharp, then you don't have to cut them in that many bunches. You can cut just maybe 2 or 3 at a time. Whatever you feel comfortable with. All right, looking good. Okay. I don't like that. Fix that one. There we go. Make it better. There we go. I think it's time to, again, sharper scissors. Perfect. Looking good. Looking good. Okay, get my little pieces off of here, and then we're going to cut the other one. Doing the same thing, opening it up, looking for where the end of our loops are. Boom and boom. Okay, here we go. Snip, snip, snip. And then the other end. Snip, snip, snip. Okay. So if you're watching this on the replay, at any point, if you know what you're doing already or you don't want to listen to me yammer on, feel free to fast forward. But my friends watching me live tonight, sorry, you don't get to fast forward. You got to put up with me. There we go. I want to make sure I can see my friends over there. Hi, Ellen, your new watcher. Kim, I think this kit is $37.99 in my site, sweetariadecor.com. I do have an option, though, if you want me to cut the materials for you, you can pick that option. It will cost a little bit more, but sometimes people can't cut things themselves if they've got, mobility issues or arthritis. So I have that option out there as well. Again, this is at sweetariadecor.com. Okay, there we go. Get all these pieces out. Okay, so we have our tails cut. If you wanted to, at this point, if you had a third 1.5 inch ribbon, something like this that you wanted to add in, you could absolutely do that too. This kit just has two and a half inch ribbons, and we save our 1.5 inch for the bow. So now we're gonna bring our friend, the wreath frame, back over. Okay. And I'm going to grab a piece of mesh. All right. Move that to the side. All right. Now we're cooking. All right. So you'll see this wants to curl up, right? You know how it wants to do that. So we're gonna try it like that. We're going to lay it flat. So it's curling up like that. Let's go flat. We're going to lay it flat like that. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to put my hand at the bottom. I like to put my fingers together in the middle of this and then kind of just go right up. All right, I'm going up, going up, going up, and I'm making a flat ruffle. And when you're done with it, it'll look like a little bow tie. It looks like a piece of farfalle pasta, right? We are going to go put that on the outside of the wreath, okay? We're going to put that right centered over the pipe cleaner, just like this. And then we're going to come up and we're going to twist this into place and then give it a nice twist. So it looks like this. We don't leave it like that. We want to spread it out. You want to turn this into a circle. So we're going to take the ends and overlap them until it turns into a circle. Here we go. There we go. We're going to go around. We're going to do the next one. All right. Zoom, zoom, zoom. And if you're watching the replay at this point and you got the hang of this, you don't need to listen to me yammer on, but I would love it if you kept this company. All right, we're going to go in the second one here. All right, and then pinch it. There we go. Now, as you use the material, it's mesh. Yeah, it's going to fray a little bit. That's the nature of the beast. It's the nature of the beast, right? But it's not going to be too bad. Once we're all done, we'll flip the wreath over. We cut off the stray little pieces. I call them plucking the chin hairs because that's kind of reminds me of what I do at night before I go to bed. But you're just kind of cleaning it up on the back. Anytime, though, you're working and you see a string, I like to just stop and snip it because I can't count on me remembering to go back and do it later. I will not remember where it was or where it was. Okay. All right. so I'm going to teach you two different methods. The first method, we're just going to put the mesh on the bottom, and then we're going to put on the ribbons. And then on the top layer, we're going to do it a little bit of a different way, so I can kind of show you a different option for how you could potentially do this. Okay, so again, nice flat. These are 18 inches. We're just going up the middle. I've seen some people, you know, put them in like a little bodabra. You can do that as well. I just go by hand. Put it in there and I almost fell out of my hand. Give it a good twist. And sometimes, like this one, it's not exactly centered well, so I'm going to go fix that. There we go. Now it's better. That's why it's nice working with materials like pipe cleaners. You can just open it back up, go back in. It's very forgiving. It's not like, oh my God, I made a mistake and now I'm in trouble for life. Nope. I love this kind of stuff. All right. Here we go. Checking the chat again. Marjorie, hello. Thank you for joining us. Catherine caught 2 lives in 2 weeks. Yay! Yay! Well, it's probably my fault because I, for a while there, did not have a very good regular schedule. I was out of town. There were the holidays. So I wasn't very good about being regular. Maybe I need to eat more fiber. I don't know. Sorry. Not that regular, but I should eat more fiber. There we go. Here we go. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. Here at Sweet Aria Decor, we know that you have a choice of many wreath makers to watch, and we appreciate you spending your time with us. Thank you for flying the Sweet Aria's guys. Now, here we go. All right, here's the last one. All right, I'm going to go put that in, separate that out, put it right on top of where they twist. Bring it in. All right. So now we have our bottom row done. This is the height of the bottom. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right. Bring it back over here. All right. So now what we're going to do, we do not do the top layer yet. And Miss Linda needs to sit because her back hurts. I apologize. We're going to go put the ribbons on the bottom, and then we will do mesh on the top and ribbon on the top, okay? So how we do the ribbon is we lay one on top of the other. I'm going to have the chicky pattern on the top and the plaid on the bottom. And we're going to bend it over, okay, make a crease. And then that crease right here is where I will pinch it. Boop. Open this up. Push this in, give it a good old twist. Now here's where we're going to cut some of this off on the bottom row. So we're going to keep twisting till we have about 1 inch, okay? And then I'm going to, oh, snippy, snippy. Now we're going to part the ruffles, okay? I call this the butt crack. Right. We're just going to take this and we're going to bend it behind there. Okay, so we're going to bend it into the butt crack and then bring our mesh back together. And then we separate these out. Okay, so we're going to go that way and that way. Okay, so you can either do them every other, or you could do something like this where you kind of have this inside and the plaid on the outside. However, I like to do this. I think it lays better, and I just like that you get to see more of both patterns equally instead of this one being more prominent. Okay, I like to undo it before I do the ribbons. You see, it stayed there. Nothing popped open. It stayed perfectly. All right, so let's go. Stack, stack, bend, crease, open. And then pinch, just kind of gather it up, right? Ooh, lovely. All right, I'm gonna put that right in here. A nice, good, tight twist, right? Because you don't want, if you tug on the tails, you don't want the ribbons coming out. Cut it off about 1 inch above. And then put that behind there. And there you go. It's literally just have to move one side of the ruffle to get that wire behind. You're just moving one chink. I don't know anybody that can just move one of their butt cheeks, but if they can, well, then they're talented. More power to them. It's like people who can raise one eyebrow. My daughter can. I cannot. I don't know where she learned how to do that, but it's the funniest thing in the world. I love that. Catherine, you know, I was going to do a Mardi Gras wreath tonight, and I have been working in the house, like moving stuff around all day. My back just hurts so bad that I could not. But I think for next Wednesday, I am committing to making my big Mardi Gras wreath. Now, it's not a kit, okay? This one is a kit that you can get at sweetariadecor.com. The Mardi Gras one is just a one-off of supplies that I have for myself. But you guys can get your own supplies and kind of use the same techniques, kind of do the same thing, okay? So we will be doing that next week. Oh, that's a big chin hair sticking up there. Oh, snip that off. There we go. All right. Go. I like that sign. I like the Easter chicks. I like rabbits too, but I like the chickies for Easter. They're so cute. I love her. There we go. Bending in half. Opening it up. And there we go. All right. Oh, here we go. All right, one more, and then we're done with the bottom row. That went pretty quick. It's going well. These thin wreaths they're fun. I mean, you can always add embellishments, you can add florals. So let's talk about that. When I do the next ruffle, let's talk about how you could add florals in here. Okay, so I open this up. All right, I'm grabbing the next set. Almost done. Okay, so I'm a little bit short. That's all right. Bring it over. I thought I was done. No, I got one more to go after this. Okay, so I put this in here. Now, if you had, say, a mixed floral bush or some florals and you wanted them to stick out, you could always put the stem right through here and then twist it in there and then add a little bit of hot glue once you've got it in there just to make sure that it stays. So that's kind of one way that you could add it. You could always just try to put it in there and add it with glue. But I like to wire my florals and things in as much as I possibly can, if I can, because I'm in Chicago. They don't call us the Windy City for nothing, baby. So it's a little crazy here, though. It hasn't been too bad. Though we were hit with a snowstorm out of nowhere this morning. I don't know where that came from. It's not the kind of pleasant surprise I wanted out of Wednesday. Bending it, crease, open, pinch, lay it in. Alright, cut off that excess, bend it behind, and then here we go. Now, we'll take a look at how thick this currently is. So this is just one layer around the outside, okay? So let me hold it up sideways and you can see this is, there we go, that's kind of where that's at. So it's going to be a little bit thicker than this when we're done, but it is pretty darn thin. It's taking its Ozempic, that's for sure. All right. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to try to find the pipe cleaners for the top and I'll bring them up. So here we go. And they'll come up between the sets of ruffles. It's just easier to do this now than to be hunting for them when I have material in my hands later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. That did not take long to do at all. Here we go, as I'm dropping ribbon tails off of the table. Okay, so now this next method, you know how on the previous layer on the bottom, we added all the mesh, and then we went around and we added all the ribbon, okay? This is what I call the lazy method. Okay, so we're gonna add our mesh. So I'm still taking an 18-inch piece mesh and I'm cruffling it up the center, going up the middle. I'm still gonna lay it right in. Okay, make sure you push it all the way down onto the wreath frame. And grab your other pipe cleaner. Okay, now I'm still gonna twist it in, give it a good twist. Layer. Okay. I like to layer left over right. Yes. There we go. But now instead of moving on to the next piece of mesh, I'm just gonna grab my ribbons while I'm here. Because why? Because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to go back around again. So I'm here. I'm gonna put it in now. All right. There's only one thing that we'll have to do at the very end that I think is the only difference, and that is just make sure to pull all of our ribbon tails out on top of the mesh so that we don't have any tails covered by the next ruffle that we add in. But that literally takes like 20 seconds. So, okay, that was number one. Now we go to number two, the lazy method, which I like. I like the lazy method. Lori from Delaware, good evening to you. Good evening. Here we go. I'm gonna ruffle it up on this side this time. I'm mixing it up. Doing it over here on the left. All right. There is my twist. Right on top there. Pull up the bottom one. Find the top. All right. Give it a nice twist. Get out these two extra little pieces. Just give it a quick little haircut. Here we go. All right. Layer, top, layer, left over right. There we go. All right, now let's grab our ribbons because I'm lazy and we're going to do it all at once. Yay. When we're all done too, we will go back around and we will we'll adjust our ribbon tails again. It might take a little bit of rebending and kind of reshaping and telling it where it needs to go. Right? But that's all right. It's like a child. You might have to tell it a couple times what to do, but eventually it gets the hang of it and knows where it's supposed to go. All right. Okay, moving around. Here is the next one. Go grab a piece of mesh. Go underneath the sign. There we go. Ruffling it up. Right here. Knocking the ribbon tails on the floor because that's what I do best. Layering it over. Okay. Oh, I literally threw them all on the floor. Well, that was nice. All right. Bending them over. Pinching up the crease. There we go. I'm just excited for Easter to get here because it's almost Cadbury cream egg season. That's why I love the holidays. It's like, what holiday candy is available? Mind you, I'm type 2 diabetic and shouldn't be nanny. But life is short. If I keep eating like this, is going to be shorter. But still, treat yourself. There we go. All right. Go down. Got 3 left. The light at the end of the tunnel, my friends. The light at the end of the tunnel. Here we go. All right. Cruffle it up over on the left. Just gather. You can almost hear the scraping sound. Just kind of make sure you're staying in the center. My camera has Can you guys still see me online? Can you still see me and hear me? I hope so. All right. I tell you, you know, Mevo is giving me nothing but headaches tonight. It doesn't sound good. I may not use this camera anymore, which makes me sad because my husband got this for me. Before he passed. Camera is actively streaming. No, I guess we'll just keep actively streaming. Can you guys still see me? I hope so. Well, otherwise, guess what? Here we go. I hope you guys can still see me. I think you can because I'm on Facebook, so I can still see it. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to put this one right in here. Okay, we have just put in on the top wreath, we've put in piece number 4. So I'm opening this up. I'm going to grab the next set of ribbons, okay, bend it in half. Here we go. Give it a pinchy pinch, putting it in, and here we go. Awesome. There we go. Snip. All right. Okay, excellent. So the mesh, Sharon, is cut at 18 inches a piece. So it is 10-inch tall mesh, and it is cut at 18 inches a piece. I cut 12 pieces. That means that you have enough left on the roll to make a half a wreath. So you could buy 2 rolls of mesh and end up getting 3 wreaths out of those 2 rolls. It's a nice budget-friendly option. Or if you want to cut it longer and you're not concerned about how tall your wreath is, you want it a little fluffier, you could always cut it, 20, 22 inches. It's typically, don't really count on there being a full 30 inches on the spool, because sometimes there isn't. Always plan to have extra, so that way if it's shorted, then you're not in trouble when it comes to that. Right. Got that together. I forgot to put the paper mesh in. I'm getting distracted here. There we go. All right. Here we go. Move this up. Okay. Now, right in here. And twist. All right. Now we're going to find our ends. Our left over our right. So we have our circle shape. Okay. With our 18 inches of mesh, now kind of makes that circle. If you cut it longer, you're just going to have more ruffles and ripples in your circle, which will probably make it be taller. Okay. All right, here's the ribbons that I grabbed before I had the mesh in there. On the top, pinch and twist, going around this way. This part isn't super fun, right? Some of the wreath making does get a little repetitive, but that's okay because sometimes the more you repeat an action, the better you get it. That is not true with dieting. I have done that and I have not gotten any better with it at all. Okay, here's our last one. All right, there's our twist. That's where we're going to take it. We're taking our last piece of mesh. Okay, and here's another thing you can do if you're having issues making your ruffles. Put something down at the end to kind of weigh it down. And then as you start, just kind of go right up. Sometimes it's a little bit easier just to have a little something to weigh it down with. Just don't use an open can of Coke because it'll spill. Ask me how I know. Yeah. All right. Go through. There we go. Layering left over right. Okay. I'm going to open that back up because I want to put my ribbons in. You can hear my yelling back there. If you hear someone yelling, no, she's playing. She's not being harmed. No children were harmed in the making of this wreath. push that down there. Okay, and here we go. Okay, so here is our finished wreath. We are measuring, that's 10 inches, and this goes out to 32, so it is a 22-inch wide by, should be about, we'll go over here, it's about 4 inches, okay? All right, so nice and flat. This will fit between a storm door. Now we have a couple things we need to do. We have to make our bow, and then we have to talk about placement of our sign. So here is the sign. We can put it in a bunch of different places. Now, you don't have to keep this rope on there. I just like to because it's supposed to look like a tag, so I like to keep it on there. So we can put our sign up here and put our bow at the bottom, or we can put it there, and we could put a bow up there and there, or we could put it down at the bottom. I don't want, if I put it down here, the problem is ribbon tails might get in the way and get into the wording, so I'm going to want to place this up top. All right, so we're going to use that place and that place on the wreath is where we're going to attach it. It's going to go right over those. All right, and I want to make sure that the top of the sign covers the top of that pipe cleaner, okay? So when I got my finger kind of here, like, okay, so I'm going to flip it over, and like here and here is where we're going to attach. So your kit came with cable tie mounts. So what you would do is use a craft glue like E6000, and you would put the E6000, you would, first of all, take the adhesive off. Don't do what I did. Take the adhesive off, apply your E6000, just like the size of a pea, and then put it down, and then do the same on the other side, okay? And then what you would do is, because that takes 24 hours to cure, so if you don't want to wait, which who does, go around the outside with your glue gun, okay? I use Gorilla Glue for the hot glue sticks, and I've got a Sure Bonder here because I don't spend that much money on that stuff. But make sure your glue gets on both the sign and the plastic, and then you let it sit, and let it sit and cool while we would make our bow, okay? The other option, and this is the option I personally prefer to use, is a staple gun. But if you are going to use a staple gun, you're probably going to need to build it up because the staples are probably going to go through the sign to the front of the sign if you don't build it up, because I think these are 5/30 seconds. I don't know, but all I know is I got to build it up. So I take the cardboard tube that the mesh came in, okay? This is the cardboard tube from the mesh. I've used it already, but I just cut 4 1-inch squares, okay? So 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? And I'm going to use 2 on each side, okay? So I'm going to have 2 over here and 2 over there. Right now I'm going to flatten them down, right? So I'm just using it for the cardboard, okay? And then we're going to put our pipe cleaners on top of those, okay? And then we are going to add the staples, okay? So, and this is a little tricky because there's a hole here. So I've got to be kind of careful, maybe go a little bit above and over to get it kind of toward the outside. So it's not going to be directly centered, it's going to be a little higher above. So I'm going to put my pipe cleaner right on top of our cardboard square, okay? And we're going to go ka-chunk, ka-chunk, and a third for good measure, right? All right. Now I want to come in the same distance from the edge with the other one, okay? Because we don't want our sign to be lopsided, like my boobs. That's another issue. We want to talk about that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so those are your 2 different options for the sign. Okay, so now I'm going to go over. We're going to put this, like I said, over that and over that. So I'm going to bend these. All right. And there's a path, okay? And we're going to follow the path of where the other pipe cleaners already are, okay? You shouldn't have to really pierce the mesh. It should be pretty easy to try to find that or to get that through, okay? So going through there, and sometimes you might have to use your finger from below to kind of help move like another layer of mesh away, okay? the inside one is typically easier to get than the outside one. Okay, so we've got that. I'm just going to give it a light twist for right now, okay? Just so it doesn't move while I get the other side in. Okay, so I'm twisting it with my hand underneath, just the pipe cleaners together, just so it doesn't move, all right? Now I'm going to go over and do this. It's easier to bring it closer to me. Just kind of spin it around. But when you're doing this with your wreath, kind of think of it in terms of a clock. You know, your 6 o'clock is your bottom, your 12 o'clock is your top. And then we have, you know, your other positions from there. Okay, so here we go. That's looking pretty centered, I think. I like it. So I'm going to flip it over. All right. Now we're just going to flip it nice and tight. I like to twist it at the point where it's on the metal wreath. I think I just get a better twist that way. I'm going to twist the whole thing and then kind of cut it even. So if there's any part that's like longer, and it will be, just get rid of the rest. Okay. Do the same thing over here. Go. I don't want to cut it too short because what if I want to move my sign? What if I'm not happy with it, right? We don't want to have to redo it. Okay, so I'm going to bend this underneath the frame. Oops. Over it. Kind of bring it around. You're really just going to, we're wrapping the pipe cleaner around the frame. Okay? And then we're going to make sure our ends are always kind of, oops, this is not very tight. Hold on. There we go, an extra twist. We don't want anything poking out to the back, okay? So you always kind of make sure everything is poking in and covered, and there's nothing on here that's going to scratch the door, okay? So when we bring it over, Loki, oh, it's so cute. All right, so we're going to see how the mesh is over the ribbon. We're just going to bring the ribbons right over. I could have done that before I put the sign on, but everything kind of jumbles around and moves around, so I'm just going to wait till now. All right, it's all looking good. All right, now the last thing we need to do is make a bow. Some of you may have bow makers. Some of you may make bows by hand, okay? I have trouble making a bow by hand, so I'm going to have to get out my bow maker, okay? You can do the same thing that I'm doing just by keeping your hand in and pinching, okay? So where you see I have dowels here, this would just be where your hand would be holding it and pinching, okay? So when I say pinch and twist, put it through the middle. It basically like pinch and twist and then just kind of re-grab it, okay, with your hands. We have our 3 different patterns, okay? We have the plaid and the chick and the pink. Because I had plaid on the bottom and then chick on the top, I'm going to repeat that here, okay? Now there's 3 yards of this, so you probably, I gave you enough to make 3 small bows if you wanted to do that route. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. Let's see. We could, because I gave you also 3 pipe cleaners. So let's take a look and see if we want to do that. Let's do it. We're going to make 3 small little bows, okay? I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to have this tail, I've already dovetailed it, okay? So this tail is kind of hitting, we're going to have it hit at like 5.5, okay? I don't want these bows being too big, okay? So we're going to pinch and twist, okay? You saw what I did? Bring it in here, we pinch and we twist so that the right side of the ribbon is facing on the right side and the back side of the ribbon is on the left. And you can tell by the stitching kind of what's front and back, okay? I'm going to bring it over. Now we're not going to do 6 inches because that would make 3 really big ones. We're going to do 5 inches, okay? Do 5 inch. All right, and then I pinched, I put it through, and then I twisted it. Okay, so I pinched and twisted. So I'm looking at the back side on the right. Bring it over again. Okay, 5-inch loop. Great. That cuts off. Cut it at 6 so that when we dovetail it, it'll be a little less. Okay. You could always make one big bow if you wanted to. Okay, now we're going to go. The tail is down and the loop is up on the right, and then the loop is down and the tail is up on the left. We're going to grab our second pattern here, our chicky chicky. We're going to dovetail the end. Okay, and now I'm going to start from the left going to the right, okay? So this is going to hit at 5.5 on this tail. I'm pinching and twisting. Now this is a bit easier to see here. This is the good side, and this is the icky side. Till we bring it over, okay? And if that was a 5-inch loop before, now I'm going to do a 4.5-inch loop. Okay, and then I pinch and twist on the left, looking at the back side. Bring it on over. And 4.5. Okay, I typically have my tails about 1 inch longer than the loop. All right, I'll cut this off at a little less than 6 so that I end up with a 5.5 inch. All right, so then this one is going to be tail up, loop down, and then on the left, loop up, tail down, okay? And we're going to fill in, use it to fill in the gaps, okay? Nothing is covering the plaid. We want to fill in the space between, right? It's got nice good coverage on the bow. All right, now we're going to get our pink. Go. 5. 3.5. 3.5. Now watch what I do. I messed up before, so watch what I do here. I'm going to pinch and twist again. We're going to bring this over, and we're going to give ourselves a small loop. Put your fingers in here, about 3 fingers wide. Okay, 3 fingers wide. And then cut this off a little past where we were. All right. I can always, I've got more of that pink, so I'm not too worried. Okay, I'm going to grab a pipe cleaner and take this whole thing up. All right. I'm going to set it down there. I'm going to give it a nice good 2 twists at least. All right. All right, now here we're going to fluff. All right. Bring that to the center. That one there, that one there. Actually, this is going to go this way. There we go. Wait a minute. Tail down. Sorry, I'm messing myself up. Tail down. This has to come up and go that way, right? Because we have our tail down on the right, and then our tail up on the left, and then we have our cute little center loop right here. All right. There we go. So that would go right there, okay? So I'm going to do this 2 more times very quickly now. I'm going to pick up the pace and go a little bit faster. Okay. 5-inch, pinch and twist. Flop it over. 5-inch. Cut the tail. Cut the tail. All right. Tail down, loop up on the right. Tail up, loop down on the left. Here, cheeky, 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 cheeky. Oops. There we go. Almost done. It's about this time in wreath making where my stomach starts going, hey, what do we have for dinner? I don't know. All right. So it's going to be 5.5, and then this was a 4.5-inch loop. 4.5-inch. Pinch and twist. 4.5-inch. Pinch and twist. Alrighty, we're going to come cut this. We're past 5. Nice. I like this pattern. I've used this ribbon before. It's a little bit of a thinner ribbon, but I like it because I can work well with it. And it's, I don't know, I like it. I like the blue, honestly. I think that's the #1 reason why I like this. But I also, this is the first year I've used, this is like, I think they call it Kennedy plaid. I really like it a lot. All right. So here we go, our 1.5 inch. Then I'm going to remember to do the second thing on now. Okay, 5-inch tail, pinch and twist. I'm going to do a 3.5 inch loop, pinch and twist, 3.5 inch loop. Double check, yep. Okay, pinch and twist, going to do that little center loop now. Okay, and trimming that off right there. There we go. Alright, take our pipe cleaner, going around. And again, this is a kit you can get in my shop, ariadecor.com. I think I have 11 of them listed. So there's a few out there for sure. That is for sure. Alright, so we had that tailed down, and then that kind of brought it over to the left. Once you move it behind the center loop, you'll never know. People are going to think that it was just, that's where it was meant to be. All right. Okay, and now we're going to take our last piece of plaid and our scissors, and we're going to dovetail this. Okay. A little before 6, pinch and twist. Bring it around to a 5.5 inch loop. Bring it around, 5.5 inch loop. No, 5-inch loop. Sorry, it was a 5-inch loop. 5 inch. I thought that was a little big. 5-inch, pinch twist, 5-inch right here. Okay, and then we're going to cut it off a little bit before 6. And you'll see that, hey, we were able to make 3 bows. Look at that. Look at that. That's exciting. You can really stretch this material far when you know how to use it. Okay, now we're doing our little chicky. Here, chicky. Cadbury cream egg. Okay, coming in from this side, and I'm going to do 5.5, and we're going to do a 4.5 loop over here. Here we go, pinch and twist. This way, we're going to do a 4.5 inch loop. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. This is the last bow. Then we're going to put them on our wreath, and then we can all go eat dinner. Yay! We're hungry. I'm always hungry. Go. Up that way. Just have it tail down. All right. So you see every layer, you start from the opposite side of when you did the previous layer. You end up with a cute little bow like this. All right. Now we're going to grab our pink. We're going to dovetail this. Okay, we're going to start again from right to left. 5-inch tail, or slightly less if you want to pinch and twist. We're going to do 3.5 inch, 3.5 inch. Here's the 3.5. All right. And pull it through, and look, yay! Here we go. I had that one tail a little bit too big on that side. All right. Looking good. Looking good. Over. So this is why I like to use a bow maker. There we go. 3.5. I made it a little bit bigger than 3.5. Actually, that tail is still too big. The tail was still too big. Now we're good. All right. Now we're going to dovetail the end of that. Whee! Okay. So I'm going to take this, bring it on up. Again, with the pipe cleaner, wrapping it around. And it's okay to just kind of put it on the ground or put it on the table. Give it a good tight twist. 1, 2. All right, now let's adjust. Bring our dad over there. Oops. oops, that's upside down. Okay, this tail comes down. This tail kind of goes over to the left, and then our center loop covers it. So you never know. You never know. I love having those sweet little loops. If you don't want to make loops, you can always find something like a tiny little carrot, a little mini egg. Like Dollar Tree is good for finding those real tiny, cute little pieces that you can use, and then you can put those on there. You just glue them right on. Either, probably not E6000. I mean, you could, but it would take so long to cure. Okay, so we're going to bring this over. We're going to add our bows, okay? We're just going to put them right over those spots like we did with the sign. We're just going to put them right over the pipe cleaners that are already there. And then we'll twist it to the correct location. So just going to go through. All right. Bring this down. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to flip this one over for you. Just make sure. I like to make sure we're straddling rings 1 and 2. Okay. And then just do the same thing. Twist the whole thing. Those are even, so I don't have to really trim them. And then just bend it around the frame. And make sure your ends poke in. Right? There we go. We'll come back up. We'll flip it. I don't want to cover the chicks, so I'm going to kind of adjust some of the loops, but this is why I wanted to put the sign at the top so that I did not accidentally cover any of the Happy Easter writing that's on the sign. All right, there we go. I always like to make sure we can't see the pipe cleaner at the very top. Okay. All right, next one is this one. I'm gonna go over the top. There, come on, baby. There we go, I found it. All right, now we're going to go through the bottom, following right over where the other pipe cleaner was that's holding on our mesh and our ribbon. All right. And I can actually do the pinch and twist right now without flipping it back over. I'm just going to kind of go sideways with it, right? I don't have to put it on the ground, but you can see I'm just kind of doing the same thing I did before here, and then kind of take that and then push that in so the ends are underneath there. All right, we're looking good. We're looking good. Last one, and then we will adjust our tails slightly, but I think this is really cute. Just want to make sure, like, see how I'm trying to move like these so like they're next to each other and not kind of on top of each other. We don't want that. All right, here comes the last one. All right, going through. Yay! All right, make sure I'm on the outside of ring, the inside ring. Go. I like to make sure that we're just straddling 2 rings because it gives it more coverage, gives it something stronger to hold on to, right? All right. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Bend it in. All right. Bring it back over, flip. Separate out our tails. Let's lay down. Bow. And make sure I don't want to cover Mr. Cheeky Cheeky. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. And then one thing that I like to do, you don't have to do this, and it is not included in the kit, is I put a zip tie in the back. This is how I hang it for storage and stuff. And I actually also use it to hang. But so this is the 12 o'clock position. So right on the back, there's a spine. I will take the zip tie and I will go right across the spine, right underneath that outside ring. And then I bring it up, and you've got a nice little loop to hang it from. You can also do that with an extra pipe cleaner if you didn't use all the pipe cleaners to make tails or to make bows. All right. We're going to make sure everything looks good. We're going to have all of our tails re-separated because, you know, it might take 2 or 3 times of separating them. They're going to want to migrate back toward each other. It's like getting back together with an ex, right? Bad habits. Right, but we just got to teach it. No. You're going to go there. You're going to go there. All right. And, all right. Okay. And here we go. Here is our cute little Happy Easter chick sign or bow. I want to make sure this is all nice and covered. Okay, and then if you want to, you can take, like, if your tails are a little long in a couple spots, like up here, I might trim this one a little bit just to make sure. I don't want it to get in the way of Mr. Chickie's face. All right, I might cut this one a little bit shorter too. All right. This one's missing a hole. There we go. I'm like, where's the tail? I knew something didn't look right. I was like, wait a minute. It's missing. There we go. All right, our wreath is done. It is all ready for Easter. You guys did a great job. A round of applause. Yay! All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have fun at making your own wreaths. Again, I've got lots of kits available at sweetariadecor.com. I have been posting a lot. I haven't even put them all on social media yet. There's a cat kit, blueberries, patriotic, honeybees, just lots and lots of different kits. So that's kind of where the business is headed. I'm ordering more supplies too, so you can be able to get mesh, wreath frames, and more ribbon and like those mixed filler bushes and stuff through my site. So hopefully you guys will follow along, and I really appreciate you guys watching tonight. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can shop all of my items at sweetariadecor.com, and you can follow me all over social media.